Yo, what's going on? It's Bam here from Multiversus University, and today we're going to be talking about some multiverses. You already know, man. Finally, we got some content. The people are pleased. I've been waiting for this, man. I've been waiting for this. Been so damn hyped about this game for quite some time, and obviously went dark for them to work on the game, work on the netcode, bring it back, in a way where they can actually do the full release, right? And they did the mic check for 2 weeks, people were pretty excited about it. Then as the weeks went on, people were like, damn, okay. That's great and all, man. The mic's clean. Like, I need you to talk to me. So they finally started talking. So we got some stuff here. We're about to go through this and kind of talk about what all the craziness that's been happening on Twitter, right? A little bit. Talk about the scenes discourse. Spoilers. It was pretty dumb. But now it seems like it's in a good place. And, I'm going to give my thoughts on some of this stuff, man, because I think this is really important as we're looking at a potential game changer in fighting games and definitely in platform fighters, right? If this all works out well for Multiversus. So I think it's important for the general scene to be aware of what role they play in all of this. So let's get started, man. Let's get started. So they started off with this on the 11th. We usually don't take things too seriously in Multiversus. It's more fun that way. But the netcode is no laughing matter. Let's take a look at what Player First Games has been up to in the lab as they reworked netcode to provide the best experience for your return on May 28th. All right, it's time. So when Multiversus on the beta, when it was good netcode, it was hella good. When it was bad, this game, by the way, is like old. The open beta was hella fast, right? And so at that time, if you were playing that game and you just literally were on a bad netcode, right? Or you were on a bad connection, dude, it was so like people were EX teleporting everywhere, right? People were flying everywhere because the characters were small and they were just insanely fast and you can like cancel everything, right? So that was a big issue. And so they wanted to make sure that they got it to a good spot they're proud of. And I think that they actually did that. So let's check it, right? So this is the game at a good ping, okay? And my boy, classic Shaggy, has the ability to pull sandwiches from out of the ground. Man could end world hunger, but he says, nah, first world problems. I don't need a sandwich. I'm on a diet, and just tosses it on the side. It's crazy. Man, we'll never know why he has those powers, man. That's the ultimate Scooby-Doo mystery. But you can see here, he's moving well. Got the packet loss here, too, in the ping. And the frames. This is what we want to see. But, of course, this is going to be good netcode, right? What we're really interested in is when the connection gets a little sticky, icky, all right? So when it has some problems, can we expect something good? So you have this here at a ping 150, 160. And again, throwing sandwiches out. Hopefully you're feeding the people. Otherwise I have a problem, Shaggy. But he's moving. It's looking clean, right? I think one of the big things already, we see these huge models here. It's partly these bigger models, which is nice because you can see more of the movements and the animations in the game. But also, too, we are seeing the camera, right? Now we have a much more dynamic camera. And we'll talk about it a little bit later because I do think there's some tweaks that could be good for the camera, for the overall experience. But I think for what they are doing with the camera and the intention for the game to be more visible, not just for the players, but the spectator, I think they're moving in the right direction. I do like this, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, looking pretty good on high ping. Really, really important here. Really, really important because you want, in this day and age, you need to have good netcode and you want to be able to be a spot where you can actually go and play at a high level and play with regions, with countries. That alone is insane retention, and that alone could build communities if you are able to come together and play whenever, wherever, right? It's huge. So good stuff on them. I know they are looking at dedicated servers for their rollback netcode too. So like this is a really good sign that they went through and adjusted the netcode accordingly. But this is where people wanted to shut the mic off. All right, we're gonna check this out here. They gave us a match of this netcode. This is Connecticut to Mexico, by the way, right? So the whole point of this footage was to showcase where the game is at now with the netcode. That's what this was. But of course, you're seeing gameplay. People want to see all the juicy stuff. They want to see the mechanics. They want to see the new characters. They want to see all that stuff. And people weren't happy. They didn't get what they wanted. Spoilers. Right, so you can already see right here different swings from characters. They are there's a lot more visible cooldown to moves. Right, it looks like they're trying to introduce more whiff punishing. That was a huge problem in original open beta Multiversus. Like, it was very hard to whiff punish things because you have all these dodge cancels, and dodges are intangible, by the way, in the game. So essentially, you're moving around, you're doing these quick moves, and then you just fade back, and you just keep throwing them out back and forth until you catch an opponent on a preemptive move forward or something along those lines. And then you score a hit and you go from there. But there's a lot of times you get into points in matches in Multiverses where people will just be swinging for the fences in a general area in hopes that you fly into that area and then get something from it, right? That was always the kind of hardship of the game, right? Because you don't have shield. So you had paper versus scissors, and no one wanted to get cut. Let's put it that way. Catch there. So another thing too, right? You're seeing that whenever they're doing their dodges and stuff, all the dodge cancel stuff, you're seeing the meter being used, right? And we saw in the beginning, right, when someone had a full meter, they had 6 bars, right? We're seeing some meter being pulled now. So this is also a big indicator, right? They did do this to the latter end of the beta, where they're working on having things be more restricted by losing your intangibility on your dashes once you use up your bars, right? But it looks like now there's like a lot more structured approach, and it looks like you essentially lose like 2 bars, right, for at least dash cancels. We're seeing right now there some characters are gaining back their meter. I'm wondering if you gaining back your meter more on the ground versus air or not. It seems like it might be similar right now, but we can go ahead and check out the footage a bit more. But this is going to be big, right? You'll see a little bit here, and it comes off as something negative. But I think once we look at some of the other footage that ended up coming out, we'll find out why this is a lot more impactful information than we initially realized. All right, so you've seen the characters. People are like, oh my gosh, these characters look massive, and this game looks slow. But if you really look, right, when people are moving and utilizing their dodges, which is pretty much the way that you move fast in this game, like, the characters are still moving fast there, right? But people are just being more tempered with it. So you see this here, right? We get one of the new mechanics, like this is the visible new mechanic, right? That we've been able to see. We've seen a couple dash attacks already. Now we're getting Garnets, and it's funny because he does it and no one's there. We see Nikat just dodge through it, right? And Bruce is up in the sky, and you're like, all right, cool, dash attack. That's great, I guess. But the same token, this game is such a air-based game. Even normals that tend to be good on the ground are either really strong, like anti-airs or wide sweeping areas attacks, right? Or they are things that are, again, just anti-airs. And then some are even good, like down tilts. Like, a lot of down tilts are essentially armor breaking moves to give them more value, because, again, if you're doing something that's a down tilt that's striking down at the ground, most people are not grounded. People are going to be airborne, right? So it makes you wonder, why would they add a dash attack in the game? Also, that means if there's a dash state or a run state, does that mean that we can no longer stop and do runs into jabs, right? And those kind of things. So those are the things that, like, you have to understand that you can't just look at the mechanic, but you also need to look at why and what the mechanic isn't happening. Like, what in what context does it make sense to have this mechanic in this game? From the old beta Multiversus, it doesn't seem like there's a reason or purpose for that, right? So this is a lot more telling than we think it is, other than, oh, cool, new attack. But of course, people first and foremost look at, cool, new attack, right? So we'll dive into this a bit more. See the cat swinging here? Catch again. See more cooldown on a lot of aerials here. Very, very key.
Unpleasant.
Rest in peace, Chavo. Just dies for whatever reason. He just throws out aerial. Okay. And you know, I don't think this is the best stage either to really showcase stuff on the competitive side. But again, right? I think this general video is interesting because they're talking about netcode, but at the same time, I think this video is more made for the general audience. You know, and I think that's kind of the discrepancy between some of the stuff that we'll talk about in a little bit. So we see this walk back, and then we see this punish here from Retro. And this is another clue here, right? Walk back, gets a whiff punish on the cat, gets a good combo, boom, boom, right? We'll look at it again. Easy money, good damage, pretty sick combo, right? But that is interesting because you usually don't have those kind of interactions in the old beta because of the sheer speed of the game and because of how weak a lot of the ground normals are, right? So that was pretty sick to see. Right, then you're going to see this, of course, edge guard situation, right? Trying to hold down the space. We saw that new down attack there that had armor breaking properties from Bruce Wayne, and then the cat with the punch to win out. So that video is where people got super pissed. You know, even though this connection from the Connecticut to Mexico was the main point of that, people were up in arms, right? So we're gonna go and check this out. Right. Well, first off, my boy Sage was like, "Was this at lower FPS or something? Why is it so slow?" Everyone. This was so jarring for people, and even I gotta keep it a buck too. Even when I first saw it, I'm like, dude, this looks like it's molasses. This has to be the same situation where they slowed down the game again. And you know, then I kind of went back, and I'm like, okay, it's not as slow as I initially thought. It's definitely slower, but it was so jarring because I was so used to this insane speed that was the open beta Multiversus, right? And you can see in certain nuances, like certain interactions in moments where the characters were moving fast. But I think with that and that meter, I'm led to believe more so it's people actually conserving their meter more so. So people are trying to be more intentional with conservation of their meter. So they're moving fast when they need to versus just moving the move, right? Which was like, you might as well just do that in Multiversus, the open beta, because there's just no repercussions for it. Right. And even when you burned it out where you didn't have that much intangibility, people would just burn it anyways. It was fine. Then you get it back and you keep doing it and you're moving so fast, no one can touch you anyways. So you do your thing and you go in and go out. So you go in and go out, go in and go out, go in and go out. Right. Again, no ramifications for the offense. You just got to throw it out. I think they're trying to find a good balance between offense and defense there. Right. So yeah, fastest Multiversus character versus Brawl Ganondorf. They got the freaking Spider-Man. Like, this is crazy. Like, I'm telling you guys right now, none of y'all played Brawl, like, really played Brawl. Because there's no world you think that Brawl Ganon is doing this, right? Obviously, a hyperbole, but, like, people are actually... There's some people generally saying that Smash 4 and Brawl were faster in this game. I'm like, dude, first off, if you think it was faster than the open beta in Multiversus, you are capping, right? I'm going to make sure that we actually drop a little quick footage in here of the speed of open beta so people can understand how fast that game is and how fast you can move in that game. Because what people are saying right now is just not real life, you know? This is not real life. You know, you have people talking about Smash 4, you know, me rushing down my opponent at the start of the match on Multiversus, this kind of thing. Interesting HBox, right? Talking about if you put the game at 1.35 speed and it looks like old Multiversus, right? Looks a lot more there. So it's like, dang, did they just slow it down that much? So that was the big question. And I think it's okay to have questions and be concerned. The problem was, you know, you had a, like, and this is the 1.35 speed.
Selfish man. Well, that was...
But the big problem was you had some people, top players, right? Top players in the open beta, by the way. Let's make that very clear. They did have some tournaments, you know, those matter. They did have an Evo like tournament, so that matters, right? But the current top players in the scene, and some people were just straight trashing the game. They're like, this game sucks. This is terrible. Oh, it's not the game that I wanted. What happened to the game I love? The AKA PFG's trashed. All terrible. You're all bad. Gotta say this, man. All right. Gotta say this. Guys. Do not trash your game and your scene and community to death. It's okay to have constructive criticism. It's okay to challenge things, think things that need to be better. But if you're doing it in a way that helps nobody and you're just complaining and you're just mad and angry and boycotting and saying, oh, you're terrible and bad and just trying to destroy the scene, when you do all those things, I'm telling you right now, you're ruining your scene. You're ruining your scene. You say that's happened to Mortal Kombat. That's happened to right now in Tekken. And, a lot of people would make you feel like Tekken is a terrible game. And it's not a terrible game. But that's what happens when people just could persistently trash the game and think that everything's terrible and everything's bad. And it's emotional because the game's not doing what they want it to do. Therefore, it has to be trash, rather than having constructive criticism and coming at things in a better way. So, don't do it. It's stupid. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help me. It doesn't help anyone. And you know what? Fortunately, Multiversus already had a plan. Right? So they had this NHL Open happening. And for this Open, they actually were showing snippets of the game. Right? And they were showing it as kind of like, a fight breaking out in between hockey, right? The hockey classic. If you know hockey, you already know. So, you get something special. My boy Brucey Bruce said, hey, this man's on an adventure. Yo, get this man out of here, bro. He didn't pay money to be here. So, dashes up with punish. Again, notice that we're seeing things on the ground, okay? This is really important. This is really, really important. Good string. I love it. Super low dash, by the way. All right. We're seeing this super low. It's like an instant air dash. All right. The classic. Shout outs to Guilty Gear. And, this is something that you could do in open beta as well, too, right? You do a IAD and do stuff. I think for some of the Harley combos were definitely easier to do when you did them extremely low to the ground. With her Eat It IAD fair, right? That was a really strong tool to use for sure. And look at the hit pause, right? The hit pause being when a hurt box and hitbox overlaps each other, right? Then you can extend that moment when both characters are frozen, and that tends to convey more strength or power behind an attack or a moment, right? Think impact frames. If you're anime nerd, you love that stuff. They've been showing a lot more anime in terms of huge moments. Shout out to One Piece, but a lot of huge moments. They've been showing impact frames to really accentuate and really just elevate and empower that moment or that action, right? And that's what a hit pause does as well there too. We're seeing that, great sounds. And then we get everyone's dream, right? Everyone's dream. I'm gonna run through this. Boom, boom. Good combo. The damage. I go up. And we've got air parry. Now, the funniest thing is I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, man, they're showing this now. That's pretty sick. And I love this, right? I already love that he was holding the cowl, right? When he did the initial. So if we go back a little bit, you can see he's holding the cowl, right? So something Multiversus does really, really well is they show the character's personalities through different things. I mean, you got my boy Finn buckling his knees. He said, I'm not trying to be on that time, man. Forget the adventure. I'm out of here, right? But you're seeing the cowl being used. I'm sure they probably have different parries, right, for different characters as well. So this is something super sick. I really, really love how they do this, showcasing their personality. But we're getting an air parry. And just like that, boom, easy punish. And notice the parry didn't just keep the character, didn't just give you frame advantage. The character entered hit stun, right? So it actually puts the character into a hit stun. So that's also interesting to note as well. But it's insane, right? Because we get that from that clip essentially starts from 7, right? I'll give you 6. So from 6 and ends at 13, right? That's crazy, right? So we're like pretty much we get 7 seconds, and that alone meant the world, right? The game was moving fast. It was looking clean. We saw a sick combo, and we saw a new mechanic, right? But I also want to point out something really quick before we go into the other clips. It's funny because when we see some of the movement here, right? There's actually there's a couple points in time, right? We're seeing kind of flashes by characters, and like, we're seeing them from dodges, right? We're seeing them go back and forth. And it makes you wonder, was this intentional not to show these mechanics, right? And I'm sure the answer is yes, right? They didn't want to show the mechanic as so I think this is something that this is important, right? Because this content that we're seeing right here, we got to understand there's content being made for the general populace, and then there's content being made for more of the competitive, right? And I think that there was just kind of a marketing discrepancy here, right? And this will happen, right? Between the product team and the marketing team, right? And sometimes like, all right, well, I'm trying to hit these people, right? And so we're using content for that general marketing. But, this is a conversation with Netcode. So I think a lot of people who are probably going to be interested in this kind of technical aspect of the game are going to be people who are actually interested in competitive play. So I think that was, that's something that can be seen as like a misstep here, right? On their side. And that's, people were kind of reasonably upset. They wanted to see more of the stuff, But the same token, it was just right around the corner. But if you don't know, then it seems like the worst, right? And that's just kind of how the things go. Another reason why sometimes you just got to wait and see what it is, and then make your decision from there. So, but then they show us another clip. Again, another fight breaking out. Who could it be? It is the good boy, the Boy Scout, Clark Kent. He's fighting the boy Shaggy. He said, "Pause. What you doing down there? I don't like what I'm seeing from you." It's crazy, too. Shaggy's trying to hit him with the meanest why-ada. He's like, nah, pause. You ain't doing that here. And, of course, being knocked into hit stun by my man's brilliance, he just said, "Taste the sun. You were just around greatness. My name is Kalu. I'm going to do some things to you." And this combo is so sick. This combo is so sick, right? Of course, looking like a jab. Going jab, down it, right? Double jab and a down attack. Okay, and then we're getting the dash cancel. And I'm loving the animation here. And then we're going into jab 1 into up special. And actually, it looks like he got popped up too, right? Because he was still airborne. So it looks like because of the pop up here, because he's still airborne here, he gets by that jab, right? Still in hit stun. So right when he's about to land, I think we see right there that we see a move. Yeah, so we see Shaggy actually moves here. So it actually doesn't combo in this situation because he's actually able to land and do something. But he runs into up special and gets killed. So pretty sick. I mean, we're seeing the impact frames there again too. We're seeing that Batman one in there. And so we got an air parry and a ground parry, right? And we're seeing combos that are from the ground. So, and now we're going to see this one up close too. We got another clip, this time from Wonder Woman. But this is the kind of thing when you start to look back now and look at, okay, you got 6 bars, right? It looks like they lose like 2 bars when they're doing their dash cancel stuff for the most part, right? It also is interesting because when they are moving with dashes, they look fast, right? So you can still do that like Multiversus stuff. You can still do the dash jump, and you see the fast falls and all those things too, but it seems like people are being a bit more intentional, right, with when they're burning the meter. And also it seemed like they didn't want to show off a lot of the mechanics to really show what was going on. But you're seeing in this footage right here, the game looks fast. The game looks good. The animations look great. The sound effects sound phenomenal. The hit pause, right? Things are looking clean. I'm really, really liking it. And last but not least, we get this. The dash attack combo. And then quick to catch in here. Right when he's about to get out of hit stun. Jack and have killed and just destroyed it. Not just straight up killed. Like, this combo is crazy. This combo is crazy, but also like even though he combos into the dash attack, right? This just tells us because characters are not being popped up as much for certain moves when they used to. So that shows that like you're gonna have more grounded interactions. You're seeing people are gonna be conserving meter, so they're gonna be airborne, but being airborne is going to be more of a risk, it seems, than before because of how they're dealing with meter now and how they're essentially punishing just, dodge, cancel, spam in the game. And so in that kind of sense, coming back down to the ground, trying to catch a landing, a dash attack all of a sudden now looks pretty good because a dash attack is a tool you can use to catch a landing while not burning your own meter. And that's where all this stuff comes together, right? That's where it looks like, okay, now we're getting an understanding why these mechanics are placed into the game and why these things are important, right? And I think that's kind of the sick thing just looking at this footage. So we're seeing a game that it seems a lot more balanced here on offense and defense. So that's what it looks like they're doing. I think right now I'm pretty excited. Again, I think I speak for everyone. Everyone wants to see some characters. They want to see what the new characters are doing. But I love that we've been able to see these new mechanics. And I love that they understand that defensive mechanics were needed, right? So now we're seeing a lot more of a balanced RPS. We're seeing a lot more value in ground game. We're seeing that some characters are just going to be getting unique down attacks as well. And, of course, they're getting their new dash attacks. And, who knows? Who knows what else they'll be changing, if they're going to be doing reworks or whatever, I know there's just some characters that they've been trying to figure out for a while how they're going to be able to work, appropriately within the system. So we may get that there. And the game looks beautiful. The game looks really, really good. Characters can still move and characters can still combo. And the characters still have personality. And I think that's one of the biggest things for this game. And now it looks a lot more appealing and it is easier to follow for a spectator. So I think this is special. But yeah, that is pretty much it, man. That's what they've dropped so far. I'm sure we'll be getting some more content probably in the next couple weeks. I'm assuming once it hits May, it's no holds bar. We're just getting content at the content. We're probably getting characters dropped, all the kind of thing, right? Because at that point, they need to go turbo, right? So they need to make some announcements, get that stuff caught in the media, and really go viral, right? And that's what's going to make it happen. But, yeah, loved what I saw, except from the scene. I hope people will come at things in a better way. I think that, there's some things that, I'll even say, too. I think that some of the marketing way things were kind of, weird on how some things were literally planned. But I think that what we got now in context talks a lot about how the future of the game is going to look like. And it literally looks like it's going to be a very new experience, right? It looks like it's going to be a really unique experience. It looks like it's going to still honor a lot of the interesting things that we got from Multiverses, but it feels like a different game. It really, really does. From what you're seeing in kind of how they're honing the offense and defense, right? And aerial to ground play. And at the same time, still keeping the charm of the characters and really even adding to some of the charm of the characters. So love it. Love what you guys are doing over there, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to be doing some more content on this game. This game I am very, very passionate about. I had the honor of being in one of the very first, one of the alpha sets. The game didn't even have a name when I played first. So like that was a while back, So and I like it was something like I had to hold my tongue. I'm like, damn, this looks kind of crisp, man. I'm like, if this is done right, this can really change the space, and I really hope it does. So, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I know a lot of you were following, and please go ahead and subscribe to us, please. We're trying to get to a point where we can get to 50. We can start doing some more stuff. Really want to do some more stuff for this channel. Some giveaways, do some more things in community. I'm thinking about really just trying to permanently start streaming and you set up some days where I can do that consistently. But yeah, show us some love. Tell us how you feel. We got the Discord and stuff like that. Usually have the link down below. So go ahead and check that out while you hit that bell icon as well. And we'll see you all next time, man. Class dismissed. Peace.